Shanti. Sometimes I forget. It's as simple as that. I am. Are you? I am. That's enough, really. I think we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. Welcome, everyone. My name is Michelle, and I am your MC for this evening, and I share that great honor with my sister, Louise. She's going to be filling in for the next few weeks because I have worldly duties of work. So you'll be seeing a lot more of Louise, and we'll be fortunate for that. Tonight, it is a new month. And what I like to do, because we come pretty much every Thursday, is to look out the window. Let's remember this, that it's dusk and it's a little not as bright, but let's remember where we are in December, how the world just keeps turning and turning, and I am. And that's a beautiful thing. It's a new month, September. Welcome, September. I love September. Actually, like all the months have something. And welcome, Zoomers. Forgot you're not here. Well, you are here, but welcome, and welcome to you for taking that extra step to be here and bathe with us in this wonderful feeling of joy. Tonight, we begin our month, which is aspects of awareness. And I like that, aspects of awareness. How aware are we? Sometimes it's just enough to be I am, but we lose sight of that. How aware are we of what's going on in our life? Tonight, it's embracing spiritual bonds. It's going to be a very provocative and insightful, hence the title for Thursdays. So I took some notes, if you won't mind. I thought of what does the topic mean? Embracing spiritual bonds. What are the ties that bind? What are the ties that bind us? For human beings, and I speak for myself, for you, our ties are generally the roles that we play. We're a parent, we're a child, we're a boss, we're an employee, we're a friend, and also shared beliefs. And this time it's politics and religion and the culture and community. But what about spiritual bonds? Do we connect to that? Have any of you had the feeling I have that hits us in our mind and our soul when we meet someone we know is our soul? I have a soul sister. It's a dear friend of mine. In an instant, when I met this person, there was a familiarity. I didn't know who she was, but there's a familiarity and understanding and a need to spend time with a very luminous being. And during meditation, you have some form of practice in meditation, there is a close connection with the spirit that we know is bigger than us and illuminates us. And that is a spiritual connection. And that is a spiritual bond. And that is glorious. So tonight we are welcoming Sister Tina. And if you hang out at all at Harmony House, you know Sister Tina. She is a very, very special person in so many ways. She has a doctorate. She's a Ph.D. in plant science, which I find really fascinating. I actually looked up plant science today to get a better understanding of it. But imagine communing with plants, but it's not just plants. It's plants are us too. And everything in the world, our food, the climate, everything, the interactiveness, it's perfect. She's a research scientist. She was a research scientist in an academic setting. But the reason she's here is she has been practicing Raja Yoga meditation for more than 25 years. And she currently lives in the Brahma Kumaris Center right here. And she is kind of the chief cook and bottle washer besides Sister Anjani, who's the head. And she loves to discover her own inner strengths. And I spend enough time with her to know she is always digging and digging for the inner I am. And it's really remarkable to be around her, to watch her study as deeply as she does, probably as she went for her PhD. And she applies these spiritual concepts in a practical way during her life. And you see that. And with that, we'd like to call up Sister Tina.
Greetings, good evening. Om Shanti, everyone. Thank you so much, Michelle. You're already making me feel so happy, so light, and so joyful about this evening. And thank you for that warm welcome. I feel that, this topic, I don't choose the themes, but I always love to experiment with the topic that I can, share a little bit around that theme. And when I was thinking about this theme, I felt that it is beyond something that can be covered in 1 hour. Because aspects of awareness, you can go on and on and on sharing about the awareness because it's so deep and there can be profound experiences and stories and narrations that can be shared. But because we have limited time and we are in this limited space, I thought of at least 2 or 3 aspects of the awareness that we can explore today. And I'm going to share with you all uh, my slide. See, can they see? Yes, okay, it's coming up. So, when we talk about embracing spiritual bonds, one of the things that comes to the mind is that the most deepest of all the relationships that we experience, I feel is the spiritual relationship or spiritual connection, or you can call it a spiritual bond, right? Now, if you think what Michelle just said, that the relationship can be on the basis of the physical roles that I play in this physical field of action, it can be based on the common beliefs, politics. I didn't think of that, so that was a good one. Or it can be based on relationships can be task oriented. I have certain tasks that I have to do with you, and so I remember you. Or I want to get something done, and so I call you. And these kind of relationships can be very superficial. They can be sometimes burdening as well. If somebody is calling you only for a task, yes, on one hand, you think it's very practical, right? That they are calling you because they have something to do with you. But at other times, you look at their name on the phone and you say, again, same thing I have to deal with. So they can be a little bit burdening in that sense. However, if you look at the relationships or the connections or the bonds that we form on the basis of spiritual awareness that we have, then, that makes the relationship long term. That makes the relationship more beautiful. That makes the relationship become a source of happiness. That makes the relationship eternal sometimes, right? On the spiritual realm, anyway, we say we are eternally connected with each other because we come from the same source. And so these spiritual relationships or spiritual bonds or spiritual connections, I'm using these as acronyms, as synonyms, but these spiritual bonds can be experienced, especially with my own self. I can experience a spiritual bond, a spiritual connection, but also between family members, between friends, between colleagues, between neighbors, between people in our communities, between partner, spouse, husband, wife, or in general, the whole world can be experienced in this way, where I have spiritual connection. Like she was talking about me being a plant scientist. Of course, I felt for the plants, like I'm connected, there is some connection there. I get to learn from them. I get to experiment with them. So even with nature, even with 5 elements, when I say world, it includes everything. And there can be a very beautiful spiritual connection that can be formed where there is sharing, at the spiritual level. So, a very simple question that could arise in your mind is what is the basis of this spiritual bond? what is the basis of this spiritual relationship. And from our teachings at the Brahma Kumaris and practicing Raj Yoga meditation for so many years, I've realized that it is the core qualities of I, the being, that helps me to work from a space of my highest self. I have a relationship with you, whatever relationship, but if I'm using love in that relationship, if I'm using peace in that relationship, if I'm using wisdom, then automatically those core qualities help me to work or to act from a space of my highest self. My highest self looks something like this, right? My highest self. Now, you all, I know all of you. I have seen all of you before. You all have seen me before, right? So I have discussed this particular image before with you all, where I am a star, I am a beautiful light, I am a sparkling being, and I have these beautiful core qualities of love, of purity, of happiness, of joy, of power, right? These are my core qualities. And when I bring them into my relationships, then those relationships become beautiful. It is only when there is absence of these core qualities, that's when the relationships become a little bit more physical oriented or more task oriented, right? And so very important to remember is that I use these core qualities. Now let's do a little check-in. How do I feel about my, you can fill in the blank. You can say, you can answer this even after the session. How do I feel about my own self? How do I feel about my life, in general? How do I feel about my connection with people? How do I feel about the world in which I am? So it can give you a little bit of idea where we are right now. How do I feel about myself? So using this question, we're going to answer some of the aspects of awareness that make you feel happy, or that make you feel loved, or that make you feel peaceful. Again, this session, you use it as a practical workbook, if you will. You can use this question for different core qualities. And you can use the previous question for different areas of your life, right? But if we just look at this one thing, I'm going to explore this with 3 ideas. First is that I can experience one of the aspects of awareness is just to know thyself, right? Just knowing who I am, exploring who I am, can bring a lot of joy, a lot of happiness. I remember one time, I think this was 2012, I was visiting Cleveland, one of my friends' place, and a few other friends were there, and it was raining. And I know when I walk in the rain, I am very careful that I don't step on the earthworms. So I look where I want to set my foot, or I am very careful that I bring the umbrella with me. And one of my friends just made a comment, and she said that, wow, it's so interesting. You know yourself so very well. You know where to set your foot. You know how to, carry the umbrella. You know what you want. And it kind of, only after hearing those words, I kind of had this little realization that what is the big deal in this? Anybody knows, right? But in that moment, I also felt that actually I know quite a bit about myself. And actually also there are many people in the world who don't know this. They're lost, or they're in a state of amnesia, if you will. And so I felt that knowing thyself is actually very important recognition that one needs to have, right? Because when you know yourself, then it's like easy to work from that space. Now, how do I know myself? And sometimes, of course, if you do Raj Yoga meditation, then that's your first lesson. But if you don't do that, then just look at your thoughts. What are the quality of your thoughts? Or what is the quality of your feelings, for example? What are the behavioral patterns that you showcase? Or, some of the common practices that you have which kind of tells you about yourself, right? Or you can also focus on where is your attention going for majority of the times. Let's say you're sitting, you're having a cup of coffee. Now, where is your attention going? What is pulling you, right? Or you can think about the different things that you're reflecting on. My reflection is based on past. Am I dwelling too much what has happened? Or am I thinking too much of what is going to happen in the future? Or I'm more in the present. So where is my reflection taking me? Sometimes it's also a good place to know in which state I am when different situations and different scenarios of the life or challenges of the life come into picture, right? Which state I am or the nature that I have also tells a lot about who I am, right? So exploring this question, who am I, is very, very, very important. This morning we were having our daily discourse, and one of the things that was being revised and reiterated was that the fact that I am the sentient being. I am energy. I am pure consciousness. So can I be aware of who I am? Can I be aware of my eternal form? Can I be aware that I am the master? Can I be aware that I am the sovereigner? Can I be aware that I am not this physical body? Can I be aware that I am beyond the physical identity? So this being aware of the self-luminous point of light that I am. There is a lot of power in this awareness of I am that all of us have. It's not only if you practice Raj Yoga meditation or you come to Brahma Kumaris center, only then you have the power of I am. As long as you remember that I am this being. Because what has happened all this while, we have lived from a physical consciousness or a body consciousness, like we call it, right? And so we have been living oblivious to the fact that actually I am the sentient being. I am this living energy. I am the creator of my life. I am the master of my life. I am this pure consciousness. And because of being oblivious to that fact, we end up going into more and more that which is physical and temporary and destructible and something that doesn't give us permanent happiness. But the more I begin to appreciate that I am light, I am love, I am peaceful being, I am child of the divine, automatically what happens? How do you feel? Tell yourself this. Can you all repeat? I am love. I am peaceful being. I am child of the divine source. How do you feel? Lighter. Calm. How do you feel? You feel important. How do you feel? Happy. How do you feel? You feel being very spiritual. You feel so light. You feel so happy. You feel so great, right? You feel so being important. Right? I'm not an ordinary being. I'm child of the divine, right? And so this aspect of awareness of who I am is very, very significant. It is our first lesson that is taught, and faith is instilled in this aspect that I am the spiritual being, right? And then this awareness of I am is a very important aspect of self-care. This awareness of I am is a very important aspect of self-care. Self-care, people sometimes mistakenly take it as being selfish. Or sometimes people think self-care means I have a lot of time for myself. I'm going to go to spa today. I have taken time for myself. I'm going to go and sit in the garden or the park or nature today. I have a lot of time today. I am going to go to the beach today. Is that real self-care? It can be, but it is still temporary and dependent on something outside. It is good. I'm not saying it's not right to go at the beach and relax a little bit, or to go to the spa and have a good treatment or a massage, or yeah, all of that is okay, but it's still not permanent solution. What if you have to come back home after being at the beach for 1 hour? Where will you go? You will go back to work, you will go back to home, you will go back to your people. And then again, same story, same situations, right? Same things. So it is not the permanent solution as we understand, right? But really practicing, I am this spiritual being, I am love, I am peace. This practice constantly, or meditating upon this I am awareness, fixing my mind and intellect on it and paying full attention to it, giving my energy to it, is going to help me. And I call that as aspect of awareness, aspect of self-care. I remember this story, which I don't forget. And this was shared with me by my sister. And she's a dentist and one time an engineer by profession. This brother came to her clinic and he was sitting in his praising Brahma Kumaris, that you all are doing great work. You, whatever lectures you give are so good. The workshops you do on stress management and the insight sessions you all do, they are helping the world. They are so important. I myself am so stressed. And so my sister just said to him, why don't you try meditation? Just give half an hour or so, and you will help you to relieve your stress. And it was recession time, so he's a builder into construction, right? So he had a lot of buildings built and nothing was being sold, and he was paying a lot of interest, and so he was very stressed. How am I going to manage? And so he's telling to my sister, but sister, how am I going to put my problems on the side and then give my time to meditation and practice meditation? It's not possible right now. So when somebody says to you, it's not possible right now, what do you say? What do you say, Louise? You say, okay, that's fine, right? And then fast forward 2, 3 years, there was a wedding and they met and she recognized him and she asked him, how are you doing, brother? And he said, I'm doing quite well. I have sold all my property, all the buildings are done, my business is doing well, and now I'm going to make a corporate building. So I'm doing pretty okay. So my sister said, congratulations. Your resilience and your courage and your determination helped you to be successful. And he said, no, 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 sister, that is not true. I'm not that successful. And she's like, why do you say so? And she said, because you're calling me brother, I have to be honest with you. I have to tell you all these challenges and problems and things that I went through. They didn't just go away like that. They gave me a gift before they left. And my sister's like, what gift did they give? And he's telling to her that I've been told now that I have high blood pressure and I have high sugar, and my doctor thinks that it is all because of the stress and the problems that I had. Because no one else in my family has the history of blood pressure and sugar. I'm the first one. And so I recognize that I did not pay attention to self-care. And so I realized the power of self-care. And now my personal assistant, when I tell him what appointments I have, he says to me, I have 3 appointments, but we are going to add 2 more appointments. And I ask him, what are the 2 other appointments? And he says, one is the appointment with the self, and the second is the appointment with God. And so that is going to help me to not be stressful. And I'm taking care of myself now. But he had to go through hard way, to recognize and to realize how he can be stress-free and how he needs to pay attention to self-care, right? But I don't have to wait I don't have to leave anything. I don't have to drop my appointments. I don't have to leave my family. I don't have to leave my responsibilities. Everything I can do. And yet, at the same time, while walking, sitting, moving around, doing whatever I am doing, wherever I am, I just have to pay attention to who I am, right? So this gives us a lot of power, I feel, and a lot of joy in exploring my inner qualities and my inner abilities and my inner strengths. And so that's why I feel that this awareness of I am is a very, very powerful awareness. Yeah. What I also want to say is the other aspect of awareness, that once I know thyself, then I also have to engage and love thyself. Knowing that I am a soul is not a big deal. Many people outside know that. But then I have to consciously and actively engage in that self. So we say that thoughts plus feelings creates our attitude, right? You all know this by now, I think. Thoughts plus feelings creates our attitude, which then creates our vision and therefore creates our world. Now, who is creating the thought? I am creating the thought, right? I say I am the creator of my thought. And so, as is the thought, so is the feeling, and so is the world. So, if I'm creating waste thoughts, then I'm creating wasteful creation, right? If I create happy thoughts, then automatically it will create happiness. If I create thoughts that are filled with love, then I will create love around myself, right? And so I have to charge my thoughts and feelings with love, with happiness, with one of the core qualities, if you will. I'm not just creating thought for the sake of creating thoughts, but I'm choosing what thoughts I'm creating. And therefore, I'm choosing what feelings I'm creating. And therefore, I'm choosing what attitude I create and what vision I hold and what world I create around myself. And so, therefore, loving thyself is very important. How will you love yourself? You will love yourself when you have happy thoughts. You will love yourself when you have very powerful thoughts. You will love yourself when you have very elevated and good feelings, right? And so this becomes, I feel that knowing myself, recognition of who I am is definitely very powerful and it generates a lot of happiness, but also taking it a notch up and saying that I love who I am. I love who I am, where I am, what I am. How many of you feel happy with where you are and who you are? Only two, three hands? Really? Hmm. So what homework you will take from this session? Maybe just check in with yourself and see, why do I love myself? Why do I want to be happy? Like, let's say, for example, I create thoughts that are filled with happiness. Then what are some things that make you feel happy? Hmm? What are some of the things that make you feel happy? Anyone wants to share? Helping others makes you feel happy. Beautiful. Being here, listening to me. I am happy to hear that. What else? What makes you feel happy? When you're able to make someone else happy. Very nice. What else? What makes you feel happy? No, nothing? You don't want to share? What makes you feel happy, right? You have to ask yourself some of the things that make me feel happy. And I love your answers because they're very spiritual based. But sometimes the answer could be, oh, tomorrow I'm going to get a new car and that is going to make me feel happy. you know, couple years back, I had distinction and I had published a paper in a very good journal and that makes me feel happy. But when you are thinking of those kinds of things, then again, you're either in the past or you're either in the future. But we are saying we have to be happy now. I have to experience who I am now. in this present moment. And so one of the things that makes us feel happy, all of us, is that appreciating and accepting each moment. Of course, there can be plenty of answers to this question, but one particular that I have been practicing for last 1 month, because every time our senior sister, she, whenever she speaks to us or she brings message or she shares some, words of wisdom, she has been sharing this common thread of always remaining happy. And so since 2, 3 months, I told myself I'm going to practice this, always remaining happy. And a couple weeks ago in our daily discourse, there was this beautiful thing that was discussed, that asking why is making weak effort. And I kind of am guilty. I ask why a lot when somebody is not doing some things. So then I told myself that day that I'm going to accept everything and be okay and, just appreciate. And I want to experiment with this idea where I'm not asking why, and I want to make this elevated effort of appreciating everyone and accepting each moment. And so what I have learned over these last couple weeks or 2, 3 weeks is that it helps me to be in the now when I'm appreciating others or accepting as you are, who you are. It helps me to actually be here, take advantage of this moment, which is the most precious moment. And so this here consciousness or now consciousness or, being present in this moment, it actually helps us a lot. Because this is the moment where transformation can happen, where change can happen, where things can shift. And so I was just thinking, every day in the morning I get up and how will I appreciate? So I was thinking I have to remain alert, because I have made this commitment to myself that I'm going to remain happy, but there might be somebody who gets upset with me. Then what? Should I get upset too? So in that moment, I have to be alert that no matter where they are, of course, I have to meet them where they are, but I don't have to lower my shine or lower my light or come down from my dignity or my state of being happy, for example. I'm taking one example, but you can take example of any other core quality. And so this alertness to remaining constant is very important in that I am state. I also feel when I appreciate, it brings a lot of happiness. Every day in the morning, we get up and we remember and we connect with the divine source. And I feel that I'm so grateful to experience this love of yours, dear God. I feel this morning, every day we listen to daily discourse. And this morning, one of the line was, his vision is on me. And his vision of me is that I am his child. And so I felt so grateful that he has this vision of me, my dear God, right? Every day in the morning, I go into the kitchen, I get to smell the coffee beans, and I feel grateful that I can smell such beautiful fragrance, So this kind of appreciation, every day I walk from the house to here and I experience the warmth of sunshine. So I feel grateful for that. I appreciate nature. I appreciate cool breeze. So every moment can be appreciative, right? Even with people, you use this appreciation. Everybody loves to hear about themselves, right? If I tell you you're so sweet, so you feel good, no? So appreciation makes you feel good, but also makes me feel good because I'm able to see that good quality in you. So that thing allows us to remain in the present rather than thinking of what you didn't do right and what you have to do next, right? So that is one thing. Counting your blessings, right? You said you are Happy to be here. I was feeling the same, but I said this morning, remember, Louis, when you were asking me to announce, and I announced that I am fortunate that I get the opportunity to share this evening. I am feeling it's a blessing that I have this opportunity to share my learnings and my practices with all of you and share this vibration with all of you. I feel a blessing that I have Brother Eric, who is every Thursday night here, who takes care of the sound, who takes care of the Zoom. I don't have to do anything. I just have to come and sit here. I feel it's a blessing to have Louis and Michelle, who give so beautiful introduction to the topic that half of the job is already done, right? So you count your blessings and you feel so happy about your life, don't you? So that's one aspect here. And then, service. Somebody said to me that being happy is the greatest service that you can do to this world. To this world, not to one human being, but the whole world. It's the baseline service in a way, but it is the greatest service because when you are happy, others feel happy in your presence. So it's like service to others, right? A commitment I already touched, but also one thing that you have to check that it's not dependent on external gratification only. Of course, you can take happiness if you're going to receive a reward or an award, or you're going to get raise in your pay scale. You can feel happy about it, but it's not only dependent on that because that is temporary. No? If my happiness is dependent on that, then my happiness becomes temporary. My happiness still has to come from intrinsic awareness of who I am. My happiness has to come from that which is permanent about me. It could be my quality of punctuality. It could be my quality of being regular, whatever it is that allowed me to, claim this award, for example. Right. So not being dependent on the external is also a very important aspect of being in the present. So this is one beautiful thing I feel about happiness. But I want you all to maybe just take 2 minutes and talk and turn to each other and just talk what happens when you're happy. We already touched a little bit, but some things more you can explore. What happens when you're happy? Hmm? Find someone and just talk for 2 minutes. What happens when you're happy? Yeah, maybe you two can talk there. What happens when you're happy? You're happy? Yeah. All right. So anyone wants to share what happens when you're happy? Huh? You okay, you smile, but what happens? What happens? You feel light, very good. You feel high energy, very nice. You feel good. You feel good, okay. What else? What happens when you're happy? You think you're spreading happiness around yourself. Yes. Huh? You feel helpful, that you're helping. Uh-huh. Okay. So it's a very nice question to explore, what happens when you're happy? What happens when you're loving? What happens when you're peaceful? Now, one of the things that I have noticed is that when I am happy, I actually give the feeling of being, it's like giving a space to others to feel accepted in your presence. Let's say you go somewhere and nobody smiles at you, nobody is happy to look at you. You don't feel like you belong to that space. You don't feel like, you're being accepted in that space, right? But when you are happy, you actually provide that space where others feel accepted in your presence. When you're happy, you actually raise the frequency, which is right. Whoever said that, so you raise the frequency or raise the vibration of that space or that atmosphere or that environment. When you're happy, you actually give them the feeling of lightness. Imagine somebody is grumpy and upset and not happy, and how does it make you feel? Makes you feel heavy, right, in their presence. But somebody is very light and jovial and laughing and joyful, you feel light. You realize what lightness is, right? So when you're happy, you also give them reassurance that everything is okay, my dear brother, my dear sister, right? When you're happy, you give them hope. And one beautiful thing I felt is that when I am happy, I also give them a feeling of what God looks like. Because the supreme source energy is always in the state of happiness. He's never in a state of sorrow or grumpiness or upset or angry or, you know, all those other feelings. He's always happy. And so if I am like that, then it's like I'm giving them a glimpse of what God looks like. So it's a very beautiful place to be in. Right? And so this whole idea of I am and to recognize my inner strength and to practice them and to meditate on them, it actually creates a cushioning effect in your life, if you will, which in Brahma Kumaris teachings, we sometimes call it as air conditioned method. Because sometimes air conditioned method simply means that there could be lot of heat wave outside, but you're sitting in a room where AC is on, air condition is on, so you don't feel heat wave at all. You're cool. So outside there could be heat, but inside it's cool. Outside there can be darkness, but inside there is lightness. Outside there can be negativity, but inside there is positivity. So this is called as cushioning effect. So when I am in that state and awareness of I am, then outside things can happen. There's no guarantee that just because I'm practicing I am now, everything is going to be perfect. The problems and obstacles and situations and challenges and test papers, all of that will remain. But it will not affect me, right? It will not affect me. So I am sort of like in this air conditioned room. Internally, I am in a very a safe space. So we say protect yourself, protect yourself. Protect yourself means what? cushion yourself. Make sure nothing hurts you, nothing bothers you, nothing disturbs you. But how will I do? I have to create that cushion. I have to create that method for myself. I have to create that light inside, right? And when I'm able to do that, then the third aspect that we are exploring today is to consciously become creator. Consciously become the creator. Create every thought that you want to manifest. Create every feeling that you want to give the vibration of to the world. Don't just let your mind create whatever, you know, but consciously become the creator. And it's a very good feeling actually to know that I am the child of the divine source. So I have that same DNA. I have that same qualities. I just have to emerge them on the surface. And so when the soul meets the supreme soul, or when there is union between the light within me and the light which we call as the source, that union helps me to draw upon myself, his light, his energies, his personality, his qualities, his powers. And so what happens? I might not be able to articulately speak about that experience, but I will have an experience of that communion. And that experience will help me to give experience to others. That experience will help me to inspire others. That experience will help me to encourage and motivate others. And when I have that experience of this communion or union or yoga that we call the link, which is the most beautiful spiritual bond that the soul has, is with the spiritual supreme source light, the father of all souls, whom we endearingly call Shiv Baba. He's the father, so we call him Baba. But with his connection, with this connection, I'm able to then spread the vibration that is created within me or by me. The vibration of my highest self, the vibration of my pure self, the vibration of my original self. And that has the ability to direct all the energy in the forward direction. It will only propel me and take me into that ascending stage. And when I am in the ascending stage, one of the teachings of Brahma Kumaris is that when I am in the ascending stage, everyone around me goes into the ascending stage. When I am moving forward, everyone moves forward with me. So automatically, I'm not only bringing benefit to myself, but I'm bringing benefit to the whole world. And that's like consciously being a creator, because that's what the creator does. Brings benefit, brings happiness, brings joy, right? So we have to create consciously this vibration and constantly practice the power of perfection. I am calling it power of perfection, but you can call it power of the original or eternal self. The eternal self is perfect, actually. The eternal self, the self-illuminous point of light, the sentient, pure consciousness is perfect, has no trace of any other low vibrating energies. Are you with me? It's easy, no? Easy to understand, right? So when I am vibrating at that level and I'm practicing that spreading or releasing that power or vibrating that vibration of the eternal self, I'm actually giving others that energy to move in the upward direction. So wherever I am, I embrace this spiritual nature and inspire others likewise. I embrace being who I am. Right? Somebody's saying something. Mm. So that's my last slide. But I feel that it's very simple aspect of the awareness that we can practice, and we can really bring a beautiful change where I can now begin to experience my own wondrous, magical, beautiful, powerful, perfect self. Mhm. I don't have to wait for anyone. I don't have to depend on the external light or external behavior or externals. I just have to be who I am. Any questions or any comments or anything you want to share or ask? How are you feeling? Happy? I didn't make you feel heavy, right? And it's not difficult either, right? Do you feel it's difficult? Do you feel it's too much work? You feel it's easy, right? To be natural is the easiest thing. If I have to pretend, if I have to be like someone else, then that is hard. But to be who I am is the easiest thing, right? Yes. Take the
No, we are here with you. We are very calm. We are happy. We are light. But
yes.
when we go out of here, we go with people that they have so much problem. They give you a stress.
Yes.
So what we should do to stay?
What
It's
we sh-
sometimes you cannot do it. You you try to keep ourselves happy, light, but it's too much vibration of like a negative things.
Yes.
What should we do?
We have to.
That time is so hard under a lot of pressure.
I agree. I agree. Because, especially because right now, I have not done any practice, right? I have not prepared myself before. It's like, you're going into a storm. Now, after going into the storm, are you going to take umbrella or are you going to be under a roof? No, you have to do that beforehand. No? So, knowing that outside vibration is like that, you come here every day. You practice meditation and you create your own vibration. You start to vibrate so powerfully, like create an aura around you, like a shield around you that nothing can penetrate. Nothing can penetrate. Because this morning, one of in our daily discourses, one of the aspects was that you don't have to lose anything or leave anything behind, or you don't have to make any other effort. But like I was saying, when you are with the divine source, in that union, naturally what happens, all the wrongdoings or all the wrong beliefs or all the negativity automatically dissolves. I am not dissolving them, or I am not making effort to leave negativity or avoid negativity. It automatically leaves me because I am raising my consciousness. When I raise my consciousness, whatever is low vibrating energy, that remains down. So you have to raise your vibration. Yes.
What I've experienced is detaching from someone else's mood. And how I do that is to know that just because someone asks you to dance, you don't have to say yes. And when I started to think very heavily on raising my consciousness what's wrong with that person today, instead of taking on a battle or feeling offended, which all comes from my ego. That makes sense? So if I can stand apart, and really there's a kindness in it because I'm not escalating. I'm not creating bad karma, you know, for myself or for them. Because I'm responsible for them if I start fighting back and they get all heated up and blah, 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 blah. So that detachment is not cold. It's self-care.
Mm. Mm.
You have to practice everything. This is about practice, like playing tennis, you know?
I feel absolutely right. If that's what happened to me, I try to be kind and help and attach to resolve their problem. And I saw, no, it's getting worse. And sometimes you get into that bad situation and fight. The best thing is detach.
Without resentment, that's your power. If you can detach compassionately and just say, I don't want to enter this boxing ring. It takes practice. A little bit.
Anything else anyone wants to share?
Let me just,
Mm.
yeah, because that's an important component. It's a very good reminder. Coming here, it's reminding, you
Mm.
know, it's a refresher.
Yeah.
These words coming, detach with compassion, you know, and we forget the word compassion.
Yeah.
So we detach and we get like a little sad.
Mm.
Yes? Yes,
Mhm.
you're right. So no, thank you for bringing it.
Mm. Very nice. Okay. Anything else?
Yes. Patient. So yes, detachment is really, that's the way I do things, detachment. It was hard for me to practice detachment when it was with my children.
Mm.
That was hard for me.
Yeah.
Eventually I did it. So detachment at the beginnings have a negative, but then now I do detachment with compassion and with love,
Mm.
and definitely it does help me.
Yeah.
So yes. But with family members, especially my children, I had a hard time. at the
Yeah.
beginning.
No, it's not easy, especially for a parent, right? Because the ties are since, first day. Yeah. Yeah. But detachment also doesn't mean that you don't have love for them. You still have a lot of love, a lot of compassion, a lot of understanding. But at the same time, you're just protecting yourself. You're just helping yourself to not get affected by their story or by their actions or by their behavior. Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm.
So, sister, can you do a brief meditation for
Yes,
us?
just a couple minutes.
And I have a few announcements, so don't run out. Thank you.
You want to do announcements later? before-
Announcements, whatever.
Okay. We do meditation first. Om Shanti. When I remind myself of this greeting of Om, which means I am Shanti. I am peace. Just becoming aware of this innate self, I naturally begin to vibrate the energy of peace in and around me. I begin to spread the vibrations of peace through every thought that I'm creating. naturally spreading into the atmosphere and creating peace all around me. With this awareness, I begin to notice that my thoughts slow down. My mind becomes calm. My intellect becomes stable. I'm naturally able to connect with the One, the Source, who is ocean of peace. And this natural connection of the soul with the Supreme Soul allows me to access this energy of peace that sometimes I don't feel. That sometimes the situations of life, the connections that I have might make me feel peaceless. And so the easiest thing for me to do is to connect with the source energy, the ocean of peace, the one who never experiences peacelessness, the one who is ever peaceful. And just this connection with the source helps me to once again restore my energy of the eternal self. It reawakens the spiritual muscle of being peaceful. Drawing upon this light into myself, I feel full and content. And automatically, I return to my perfect self of being peaceful. And in this state of perfection, I now return back to the present moment. And wherever my attention is needed next, I will be present in this perfect state of being peaceful. I am peaceful. Om Shanti. Om Shanti, and thank you everyone for being here. Shanti.
Om Shanti, and thank you so much, Sister Tina. And thank you, Brother Eric. Yes. And thank you, Supreme Source, who provides all of this. So I am peace. Simple, right? Simple. It is. We have to work at it like anything else. I have a couple of announcements. Next week, just to be sure, we continue with our aspects of awareness. And next week, we have maintaining a spiritual practice. So you have started that runway to maintaining that spiritual practice. And we will be joined by none other than Sister Anjani. I think she's here. Saw her before, and Swati, Sister Swati, and that's a very interesting and wonderful experience. A couple of quick announcements if anyone is interested in the Beginner's Foundation course. It's a 7-day course. It's on, there's a number of days you can sign up for it or call Harmony House. It starts on September 9th. It's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays from 6:30 to 7 p.m. And one more announcement, this weekend on Saturday, there will be at Peace Village. How many of you have had the privilege of and pleasure to go to Peace Village? Well, this Saturday, it's celebrating their 25th anniversary with a wonderful day of education and music and talks and everything, and it's for the whole public, so you can bring children and family. So that is on Saturday, September 7th, I'm sorry, between 10 and 6 in Peace Village, upstate, in Haynes Falls. And with that, we wish you a good evening, and we'll see you next week, if not sooner. And please stop for your blessings and Toli. Thank you, and thank you. Thank you. Bye, Zoomers.